There is a lot of noise about AI transforming how businesses use data, and for a solo founder, most of it is aimed at teams and budgets you do not have. Underneath the hype, though, a few genuinely useful things have arrived, and they can save a one-person business real hours every week. Today, I want to cut through the marketing and talk honestly about where AI actually helps with analytics for a solo operator in 2026, where it quietly hurts, and how to use these tools without handing your judgment over to a system that sounds confident and is sometimes flatly wrong. I use these tools daily across my own businesses, and my honest take is that they are a fantastic assistant and a terrible boss. They collapse the boring parts of working with data, the writing of queries, the first draft of an analysis, the tedious cleanup into minutes. But they will also invent a plausible number with total confidence, and if you trust that blindly, you will make decisions on fiction. So this is a practical tour of what earns its place in a solo founder stack, framed by the one rule that keeps it safe: verify everything. Where AA genuinely helps roles. Start with the honest wins, because there are real ones. A is excellent at translating plain English into the technical steps of analysis. You can describe the question you want answered and get a working query or formula back, which removes the single biggest barrier for non-technical founders. It is strong at first drafts, summarizing a messy table into readable findings, and at explaining unfamiliar concepts on demand. These are all assistant tasks, speeding up work you could in principle do yourself. And that is exactly where the technology is trustworthy and genuinely time-saving. Querying your data in plain English. The most useful capability for most solo founders is asking questions of your own data in plain language. Instead of learning query syntax, you describe what you want. Show me revenue by month for the last year, and the tool generates the query and runs it. This genuinely democratizes analysis for people who were locked out by the technical wall. The catch, and it is a big one, is that the tool can misunderstand your question or your data and hand back a confident wrong answer, so you must sanity check the result against what you already roughly know. Drafting and explaining analysis. A is a strong writing and explaining partner. Hand it a table of numbers and it will draft a readable summary of what stands out, which is a great starting point when you are staring at data, unsure where to begin. Ask it to explain a metric you half understand, and it will, patiently, at whatever level you need. Treat these outputs as first drafts and tutors, not final answers. The draft gives you something to react to and refine, which is far easier than a blank page, but the refining and the judgment stay firmly your job. Cleaning and wrangling data. The tedious work of cleaning data is another real win. AI tools can spot likely duplicates, suggest consistent formats, and help reshape messy exports into something usable, the unglamorous chores that eat a solo founder's time. This pairs naturally with everything about data quality, since better cleanup means more trustworthy numbers downstream. Still, review the changes rather than accepting them wholesale, because an automated cleanup that silently misinterprets a column can introduce errors as easily as it removes them. It is a fast assistant for the drudgery, supervised, not an autopilot you walk away from. The confident wrong answer problem. Now the danger that overshadows all of it. These tools produce fluent, confident output whether or not it is correct, and they will state a wrong number with exactly the same assurance as a right one. There is no tremor in the voice when it makes something up. For analytics, this is uniquely hazardous, because a plausible fake number slots right into a decision and looks just like a real one. The entire discipline of using AI for data safely comes down to never trusting a figure you have not verified, no matter how confident the delivery. Verify against what you know. The practical defense is a habit of verification. When a tool gives you a number, check it against something you independently know or can quickly confirm. Does the total roughly match your own sense of the business? Does the revenue figure tie back to your bank? Run a rough manual sanity check on anything important before you act on it. This takes moments and catches the confident fabrications before they cost you. I treat every A-produced number as a claim to be confirmed, not a fact to be trusted, and that one reflex prevents the large majority of disasters. Consider reasoning visible. Prefer workflows where you can see how an answer was produced, not just the answer. If a tool writes the query it ran, read the query. If it explains its steps, follow them. A black box that emits a number with no visible reasoning is far more dangerous than one that shows its work, because you cannot check what you cannot see. The goal is to use AI to do the work faster while keeping yourself able to audit it, which means favoring tools that expose their reasoning over ones that hide it behind a confident single figure. Privacy and your business data. Think carefully about what data you feed these tools. Your customer records and revenue figures are sensitive, and pasting them into every service that asks is a real risk. Understand where your data goes, whether it is stored, and whether it might train a model. For a solo founder, this is easy to overlook in the rush to get an answer, and it matters both for your customers' trust and your own. Favor tools with clear data handling. Keep the most sensitive information out of casual prompts, and never treat convenience as a reason to be careless with data people gave you. Do not outsource your judgment. The deepest risk is not a wrong number, it is the slow handover of your own thinking. It is tempting to let the tool decide what matters, what the data means, what you should do. Resist that completely. A can process and draft and explain, but it does not understand your business, your customers, or your context, and it has no stake in the outcome. The interpretation, the so what, the decision, those stay yours. Use it to do the work faster, never to think for you, because the moment you stop understanding your own numbers, you have lost the thing that made them useful. Start small and build trust. The sensible way in is to start with low-stakes tasks and expand only as trust is earned. Use AI first for things where a mistake is cheap and obvious. Drafting a summary, explaining a concept, generating a query you will check anyway. As you learn where a given tool is reliable and where it stumbles, you can lean on it more for those strengths. Do not begin by trusting it with a decision that moves real money. Let it prove itself on the small things, and let your confidence grow from evidence rather than from the marketing. The tool does not replace the fundamentals. A quiet truth. A makes working with data faster, but it does not remove the need to understand the data itself. If you do not know what a metric means, you cannot tell when the tool has computed it wrong. The founders who get the most from these tools are the ones who already grasp the fundamentals, because they can direct the tool well and catch its mistakes. The technology raises your ceiling, it does not raise your floor. Learn the concepts, and A becomes a force multiplier rather than a crutch you cannot evaluate. What these tools cannot do. The honest limit, stated plainly. A tools can accelerate the mechanics of analytics, the querying, drafting, cleaning, and explaining, but they cannot supply the understanding, the context, or the judgment that turns a number into a decision. They are confident without being reliable, fast without being trustworthy, and helpful only under supervision. Treat them as a capable assistant whose work you always check, never as an authority, and never as a source of business or financial advice. Use that way they save you real time, and use the other way they cost you dearly. Do not chase every new tool. The pace of new AA tools is exhausting, and trying to adopt each one is a way to spend all your time evaluating tools and none running your business. Most new releases are variations on what you already have, dressed in fresh marketing. Pick one or two that genuinely fit your workflow, get good at them, and ignore the churn of announcements. A solo founder's scarcest resource is attention, and the fear of missing the latest tool is a reliable way to waste it. Depth with a couple of tools beats a shallow tour of 20 every time. Keep a human in the loop. The safe pattern for any AI in analytics is simple. The machine does the work and a human approves the result before it touches a decision. Never wire an AI tool straight into an action with no checkpoint, especially anything that spends money or changes customer-facing things. The checkpoint is where your judgment catches the confident mistakes before they cost you. This is not distrust for its own sake. It is the recognition that a tool with no stake in the outcome should never have the final say on a decision that is genuinely yours to make. Use it to learn, not just to answer. One of the quietly best uses is as a patient tutor. When a tool gives you an analysis, ask it to explain how it got there, and you slowly learn the underlying method yourself. Over time, this makes you more capable, not less. The opposite of the dependence people fear. The founders who thrive with these tools use them to close their own knowledge gaps, not to paper over them permanently. An assistant that teaches you as it works is worth far more than one that hands you answers you never come to understand. Judge each tool by real-time saved. Finally, hold every tool to a plain test. Does it actually save you meaningful time on something that matters, after accounting for the effort of checking its work? A tool that produces answers you have to fully redo is not saving time, it is adding a step. Some genuinely earn their place, and some just add another thing to manage. Be honest about which is which, drop the ones that do not pay off, and keep only the handful that reliably give you back more hours than they cost. That is the only benchmark that really counts. Where to go deeper? The fuller take. with the verification habits and a sober look at what belongs in a solo founder stack, lives at dataresearchanalysiscollection.com in plain English. I keep it honest there for the same reason I do here, because the gap between what these tools promise and what they reliably deliver is exactly where people get hurt. Use AI to collapse the busy work, verify every number that matters, keep your reasoning visible, and hold on to your own judgment, and it becomes one of the best assistants a one-person business ever had. So to recap, A genuinely helps a solo founder by turning plain English into queries, drafting analysis, explaining concepts, and cleaning messy data, collapsing hours of busy work, but it delivers confident wrong answers with no warning, so verify every important number against something you independently know, favor tools that show their reasoning, guard your sensitive data, and never let it do your thinking for you. It raises your ceiling, not your floor, so learn the fundamentals underneath it. That wraps this run of Business Data Explainers, so subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.